Are you one of those managers who holds meeting after meeting and cannot figure out for the life of you why nothing changes? If you are, this video is for you. Hi, I'm JC, the Management Mentor. I come on here periodically to give you some tips and tricks that I've learned along the way so that you can learn from my mistakes. We've all been to those tedious meetings that go on and on forever. Those meetings where you're just being talked at for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour even. Just beating us over the head with results and what we did wrong and what we need to do differently. It was torture. And I left those meetings feeling so beat up, uninspired, and not really willing to put in much work. In fact, I just wanted to go home and go to bed. But meetings don't have to be that way. Meetings can pump you up. Meetings can inspire you. They can be uplifting. They can create surges of energy that you just want to take back with you. So how do you create that meeting? The reason why those meetings that just drag us down have that effect is because we're just being spoken to over and over and over again. So if you're one of those managers who right now is just prescribing what everybody needs to do to fix everything, you're probably creating one of those awful meetings that nobody wants to go to. Instead, here are a couple things you can do. The first is no matter what kind of meeting you're holding, whether it's an in-person meeting, a conference call, or a virtual meeting, let people know what the meeting is going to be about. If it's going to be a huge team building meeting, tell people what they can expect. Maybe they can expect to have some fun, play some games, learn a little bit about each other. Tell people what they can wear. Maybe they can come dressed a little bit more casually. Whatever it is, let them know how they should show up and what they can expect. If you're holding a meeting to go over some results that weren't so great and you guys need to figure out how to get things back on track, let them know that too. Share with them before the meeting, in an email, what your results were and what they think contributed to those results. What got in the way? What do they need to do differently? This will get them in the right headspace and ready to talk and strategize and brainstorm before even walking through your doors. The next thing you can do is have some sort of structure. And most of that structure should not be you talking to them. Most of that structure should incorporate them talking to you about their ideas. Every meeting I went to, I used the same format. First, we either got clear on new goals or we refreshed our memory on what the goals were. Then we briefly looked over some metrics or some results that tied into that goal, just so that we could gauge whether or not we hit that goal. Then at this point, each person would contribute to the meeting. Everybody would talk about what they thought they did that got us closer to that goal. Or they would talk about what obstacles are currently happening right now. Then they would come with some suggestions about what we could do differently to help them get to where they needed to be. Once we fleshed all of that out, it was time to action plan. We would come up with one commitment that each person could make and implement from that day forward that would get them closer to that goal. If that meant me supporting them in some way or helping them through something, that's what I would do. All of this would be written down on a meeting planner. Everyone got a copy of that meeting planner as a reminder of what everybody was supposed to be working on between that meeting and the next meeting. What this does is it gets people involved. This is where the energy happens. Instead of me just talking to everybody, telling them what they need to do, they're coming up with ideas that they can get behind. And that creates buy-in. That creates engagement. So if they're creating the plan, they're that much more likely to implement the plan and keep it alive. The other benefit to this approach is people start listening to other people's ideas, and that opens their thought process. The more ideas we can come up with, the better, because the more likely it is that we're going to create a plan that's going to work. After the meeting, make sure everybody has a copy of that planner so everyone is clear on what their goals are. Then, at the next meeting, revisit that exact plan. Because then everybody can talk to what they did, how well they implemented their plan, and how well it worked. And then they can strategize on how to improve that plan or how to keep that plan alive even longer. Maybe even expand on it. This is how you create a meeting that creates energy, buy-in, and commitment. This is how you get the results that you want. If you're curious about what kind of planner worked for me when I held my meetings, I've linked one that's very similar in the description below. Feel free to download a free copy and use it yourselves, or even just as a baseline template and create one that works for you. For more tips on how to hold great meetings, give these videos a try. And if you want more tips on how to learn from my mistakes and be a better manager, hit like and subscribe.